Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. So here we are on another SNS, and we got some cool things to show you this week. So first off, we've been doing a little bit of construction in the shop, and I think you can kind of see behind me there that I got the lathe covered up, and we got some construction materials down there. So my buddy Harry's been helping me get the ceiling done. He's been working on that, and I shot a little clip of that a few days ago of us starting it, and I'll show you that. I'll share that with you. It's been a little bit of a slow go. He's trying to help me do this in between his other jobs, so plus he's doing it by himself, so it's a little tricky to get plywood up by yourself. So he's been having to build things and get stuff made to where he can push the board up. But anyway, that's going. We got some we had some viewer mail this week that we went into, and what else did we get? I'll show you the chuck, the new 4-jaw chuck that I got. We'll show that on the lathe. I get it mounted up, and we talk about that a little bit. We got I took a little bit of video at my other job. I was machining a very long chrome rod for a hydraulic cylinder, a metric rod, and I figured it'd be fun to go ahead and get a few little shots of that on my phone. I didn't have my GoPro, but I used my phone and got a few shots of that, and I'll show you that. And then the last thing is I got my indicators back from Long Island Indicator. So we're gonna go ahead and hey guys, sorry, my phone or my camera shut off there. Those GoPros can be a little bit temperamental, that I have found on numerous occasions. When you do a bunch of filming with it and make some videos, whenever you take those videos and you transfer them to the computer, I always delete them, but for some reason after if I don't reformat the card on the camera and I go to start making a bunch more video, it'll just start shutting off on me. I'm wondering if anybody else ever experiences that, but once I reformat the card on the video camera there, it does fine. So anyway, what I was talking about is that I got my indicators back from Long Island Indicator Service today, and I want to go ahead and show them to you. Hopefully you guys seen the video before I showed them, before I sent them out. And I did take some pictures of them, so somewhere in this video I'll throw up some pictures of the before and after and show them to you. So let me move the camera real quick. Okay. Well, the first one we'll start with is they did have this packaged up. I just stuck it in here. So here's the Ames, and this one was the 22A back plunge indicator. And as I told you before, this was my dad's very first indicator, and my granddad bought it for him when he was 18. And it actually came as a set, but I don't know what happened to the box that it came with and all the accessories. It's just gotten shuffled, and I don't know where it's at. So anyway, they've done a nice job on it, and I told them the main thing that I wanted to do was make sure that it worked, and they put a new crystal on it, and that's what they've done. So they took it completely apart and they cleaned it real good, and they made a new crystal for it, and they reclocked the dial. They've actually got it clocked at like 12 o'clock now, where I think it was over there towards 20 thousandths before. So I'm happy with it. Now the one thing I was a little bit surprised was the when I showed it to you before, the crystal had a yellow tint to it, and I had assumed that the Ames indicators had that yellow color to them. I'm pretty sure that's how this one was made, and I was kind of expecting to see a yellow colored crystal, but it's not that what they did was bad here. I was just, in my mind, I was thinking I was going to see a yellow color on the dial here, but it's got a new crystal and it looks great, and they cleaned it up and it works fine. It works great. So that's the Ames that belonged to Dad, and I'm happy that I finally got this thing fixed. and I don't know how much I'll use it. I might use it every now and then. We might pull it out when we're doing some tramming on the mill or something like that. We might pull this out and use it. Alright, so there's the Ames. Alright, I'll set it over here. Alright, and then the next one was the Sterret that I sent. And they did a nice job on this one also. This one was missing the not the bezel, the crystal. So they made a new crystal for it. And I'm hoping that I can kind of block the glare and you guys can see this a little bit. They used the original template back there, you know, for the dial. They didn't replace that. So what they done, they cleaned it up good. Everything's clean of crud and dust and dirt built up on it. And it functions just like it's supposed to. So this is the 10th indicator. The number 25-111. This one had belonged to my granddad. And I'm actually excited about using this in the shop here. I'm going to start throwing this on the Noga whenever I'm doing some more indicating, and we're going to see just how close that our indicating is getting versus the normal 1-inch travel dial that I always use. So yeah, I'm you know, as far as the quality, I'm happy. They treated me right on price. I believe, let me just grab the invoice here. I got it sitting here. So each indicator, they charged me $45 to clean it and repair it, whatever was needed done. And the bezels were, I'm sorry, the crystals. One of them was $6, the other one was $9, and then we have another part that was installed for $6. So, you know, plus freight. So a little over $100 is what I spent to have these two indicators redone, and I'm happy with it. They did a great job, and they respond. If you email them, they respond pretty much instantly the same day. And so I always got very quick, prompt email responses whenever I knew that they had received them, because I checked the tracking, and I sent them an email a few days later just to make sure that they did have them. And they went ahead and they replied, and they replied with a quote, and I replied back and said, that's great, go ahead, and I paid for them, and a week later I've got them. So that's the first time I've used Long Island. I think they do a good job so far. So you know what, I'm looking forward to gathering up a couple more and sending them out to them and have them repaired. I've got another one like this that I want to have fixed, and then I've got several of the Sterret back plunge indicators, and also some last words that need to be fixed. So maybe we'll do a couple at a time and get some of these old indicators fixed. I also got a couple of Federals that I'd like to have repaired too. Alright guys, so that's I think that's going to wrap it up for the new indicator repair service from Long Island. If you got some old goody indicators, send them out there to them and let them give you a quote. Get those things fixed up. Alright, hope you enjoyed. Okay, that's 300 RPM. Hey fellas, so it's Sunday and we got a few things going on in the shop. As you can see, got a little bit of construction going on. Got up this morning, went down to the flea market, had breakfast, Made a quick walkthrough and found a couple items that I picked up, and I was going to show you those real quick and show you what we're doing here. You know, starting to work on the ceiling, and we got the back part stripped and pretty much ready to start putting things up. So we'll talk about that in a second. So I got a couple items. First thing here is I found this goldenrod little oiler, and this is the first oil can that I've ever found down at my flea market. It's actually got some oil in it. I think it was some kind of lubricating oil, and there was wood dust all over it, so must have come out of like a little wood shop. But that's a nice little oil can. It works good. Had to have it. The price was right, so I picked it up. And like I said, it's the first time I found an oil can out there at the flea market. So the next thing I got is down here on the floor. I'll show it to you. I picked up this little fan made by, it's called a Max Air high velocity fan. You know, I like my fans. You know, I've got 3 of them in the shop, but this was a nice one. It's smaller, more compact, and I can just kind of move it wherever I want to. You know, and it does the whole tilting thing. A little bit more noisy than what I like. I mean, it ain't more noisy than the ones that's on the wall now, but at least with this one, I've got a little bit more mobility to it. When I'm out here working, I can set it wherever I'm at and turn it on. Here, I'll plug it in and check her out. And it works good, and it puts out a lot of air. That's the low setting there. So you can get over the noise in the heat of the summer. That's a nice little fan to have, and it puts out lots of air. It feels good right now. So you can see the 65 right here. That's what he was asking for, was 65. And then the little goldenrod oiler, he was asking $3 for this. So we settled on $60 for both of them. I thought that was a fair price. Those fans are, I don't know, you know, a couple $100 probably at Home Depot or Lowe's. I hadn't really checked prices on them lately. So I mean, even if they're 150, $60 isn't too bad. It's in good shape. I had a call from my wife there. She's been up in Atlanta for the past couple weeks, and she's getting ready to head out and head home. So anyway, showed you the flea market stuff from today. Thought I'd grab the camera and we'll just take a look at, ain't really a whole lot to show. So here's one of the bags of the insulation, and I picked out the R30. That's the thick stuff. And I got 3 bags so far, and I think I'm going to need to probably buy 2 more by the time we get to the other end of the shop. And I went ahead and got about half of the plywood. And what we've done is we've got this back section here stripped. All I got to do is dust it. There's still a lot of crud up there. There was a lot of bugs and just crap up there. So we'll have to drop this light down. We'll just drop it down and kind of hang it with some string probably, and then go ahead and start putting the we'll put the plywood up, put the insulation up, and just work our way forward. We'll probably start with this section. Hopefully we'll have that back section done today, Sunday, and he's going to come back tomorrow and just continue forward with this way here. There's not really a whole lot of obstruction. That conduit there is there's 1 screw in that box holding it up, so all you got to do is open that cover, remove the screw. That'll fall down enough that we can put the wood up there. I have to take my air reel down, and then I've got that 1 pipe that going up. I got to cut that and cap it off. That's going to be another air line that's going to feed across here to the milling machine eventually. Once I get the new ceiling up, that's another project to work on. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is probably going to take with Harry's help a couple weeks, because he came over yesterday, and he's going to come over today, and he's going to work tomorrow and Tuesday, I believe. So, and after that, he's got another job to go to. and he said he'd be back after he does that other job, and hopefully we'll get it finished up. But it may take a week, 2 weeks, I don't know, I'm just kind of guessing there. But I'm excited to get the ceiling done. Gonna have lots of good insulation in the attic now, and hopefully after the ceiling we'll get the air conditioner installed, and I'll be sitting nice and cool this the summertime working in the shop here. So all right, well I guess that's about it for today. Just doing a little update, waiting on Harry to get here. I've been reading everybody's comments from the Saturday night special 17 parts 1 and 2, opening Pandora's box. It seems like everybody really enjoyed that, and I did too. That was a pretty fun little joke that Tom threw on me with the box. So thanks everybody for the great comments on that, and seems like everybody enjoyed it. So anyway, we'll sign off for here, and maybe we'll have some more stuff to show you later. Alright guys, it's the moment of truth. I'm going to go ahead and put this new to me Cushman chuck on the Victor here, and I wanted to share it with you guys, and I thought this would be a nice opportunity to maybe go ahead and talk a little bit about the Camlock style of mount for a spindle. For the guys who aren't completely aware of how this works, I thought I'd go ahead and show you how the studs work and how the chuck locks in on the blade. So I haven't really done any cleaning on the chuck yet. It's in great shape. It's got some dings on both of the corners here on the OD of the chuck, and that's the only thing that I could pick apart on this chuck. It's just the little dings, like where people were just setting it down, maybe on the bed of the lathe, or just setting it in the floor and hitting the corners. So I'm going to do some filing and cleaning as I use this to try to get rid of some of those little rough edges on there. But overall, it's a very nice chuck, and I believe the jaws are still perfectly square and in shape, and we're going to go ahead and test this thing out. So first thing I want to do, I'm going to move the camera over here closer, and we'll get a little better shot of this spindle. Okay, there's the end that I'm making. Or this is the old end, and this is the new piston that I just made. All metric PTFE seals, wear bands, and that's the stack, the ridiculous stack of spacers that go on this thing. Let me give you a little shot of what it actually looks like here. So this area here is where all of these spacers go on. And of course there's the piston, and there's the new piston. What had happened was this thing was scalded and they couldn't get it off. They tried heating it and doing everything they could. It's just scalded on there. So had to make a new. So that's the cushion that's going to go in front of it here. So this is turned air for the spacers, the piston. This is the rear cushion. This will get turned right here for this cushion. And that's what I'm working on. All right, here we are looking at the back side of the chuck. Now, you can see the dings that I'm talking about in the corner of this chuck here, and that's what I'm talking about. The only thing that's really wrong with it is some of those need to be cleaned up. But anyway, so this is the back of a Cushman chuck, and So this chuck only had 3 studs, and that's not uncommon. I've seen plenty of chucks only have 3 studs. And I've even seen some in books that are manufactured only with 3 studs. Now you can put 6 in here, and that's how all of mine are. I've got an old 3-jaw down there. It's only got 3 studs in it. It works just as good, believe me. Depends on the how heavy duty of a work that you're working with there. So this is a D16 Camlock spindle and chuck right here. This is a D16, and this bore here, this has a slight taper to it, and I'll move the chuck over, and I'm going to just rest it right here, and you can see here's the spindle of the lathe, and this is the same taper right here. So whenever these studs go up in these holes and you turn the screw here, it cams on the stud and it pulls it up into this face and also locks on the taper right there. So one of the things that's very important whenever you're changing a chuck, anytime you're changing your chuck, I don't care how clean you think it is, I like to, personally, I like to take my air gun and I give it a little bit of, blast of air to blow some of the chips away. All right, you go ahead and you take your rag and you wipe this inside out right here. Make sure there ain't no chips in there, dust, little gritty pieces of trash. You wipe this face off out here, okay? And then you do the same thing with the spindle nose here of the machine. You wipe it and make sure there's no chips on there, okay? And the last thing I usually do is take your finger, because the human touch, it's hard to replace. So let me move the camera a little bit. I like to just kind of give it a little wipe with my finger, make sure I didn't miss anything. You can just kind of do like that, give it a little bit of wipe, and make sure it's good and clean. There's no chips, no dirt, dust, or anything that's going to bind up on this taper and along this face right here. Okay, so all right, let's get ready to mount it up. Just making a light final cut across here. Wanted to show you using the rear spider. Got this running through, four jaws running through. And I'm using this pipe jack to support the outer end of the rod here. And this is a piece of Teflon that I cut to give it a nice little bearing journal to slide on. Use a little bit of whale oil there. Hey Ray, there's my big goldenrod oiler. It is a number 630. Got another one there that I use for my whale oil. And I told you I bought a few of these. That's the big one right there. I got a few of those. Okay, just thought I'd give you a peek of what I'm doing here. Okay, hopefully that's a good shot there. I got you mounted back here on the back side. So the other thing I was going to mention, see, I got this old board here, just an old piece of plywood. And that's what I use to change out my 4-jaw. And you can set it up on this board, and then slide it around. You can also make you a block that fits the ways a little better, that cradles the chuck. I've just never taken the time to do that. So when you're getting ready to line it up, you just kind of rotate it and you slide it up here close. And you want to get your studs just kind of in line. And then what I'll do is pick up on this board push it in there. All right, now you see, without it locked, it'll fall down there, but that's fine. All you do is locate. I'm only using 3 studs, so I'm looking, every other screw here. You just take it and you push it square, and you're going to turn that and just snug it up. And now it's pulled up. And you go to the other one, give it a little snug, just like so. Okay, now that chuck's on there, and it seems to fit good. One thing that I forgot to mention is, let me go ahead and take it off, because there was something else I was going to tell you that, of course, I forgot. You can adjust these things. All right, you see it's sucked up on there, on that taper right now. You give it a little bump, pick up on your board, and slide it off. So, on your Camlock studs, I got my wrench here in the pocket. All right, you've got a bolt, an Allen bolt. Let me get one of these loose. I'll go ahead and take the little Allen, the little cap head bolt off. All right. There's your stud. You can adjust this thing in or out whenever you bring it up into the spindle nose and you turn this. You'll be able to tell if you need to adjust this. Usually 1 revolution in or out. They've got lines scribed on the studs that indicate about where it pulls up even with this face here. And that's what I did, and it worked out perfect. So I'm going to go back in 1 turn, and that line is just about on that face right there. And you get the little groove. Here's a little groove that the head of the bolt goes in. So you bring it around there and stick the bolt back in and just tighten it up. And what that does is that bolt locks the keeps the stud. That'll keep the stud in place there. It keeps it from coming out, is what it does, from turning. That's all it does. See, you can still move them. So that's how you adjust the studs on the back of a Camlock chuck. Take the bolt out, and you rotate this 1 revolution in or out so that you get the right fit up here. So I'm going to bring this back over, and we'll line it back up and slide it on there. Okay. All right. Well, let's chuck a piece up. One thing I forgot to mention, that stand down there, you can see that it is rocking a little bit. Okay. That is actually because of this rod not being perfectly straight. So you can't run it up too fast. I'm running 240 RPM right here now, and I might be able to take it to 350. But it's getting a little iffy when your outer end hanging out there is not completely supported in, like, say, a steady rest. You got to be careful, because that thing will whip out and start shaking and have all kind of problems. But as long as you keep your RPMs at a moderate level, a little rest like this will work. A little rigid pipe jack. But anyway, I wanted to point that out, that's shaking because that rod is not perfectly straight. And sometimes I get them in here and they're running just as straight as an arrow, no run out whatsoever. And then some of them are bent. But anyway, making a little bit more progress, just finishing up the cushion journal here. And I got to turn and thread it for the piston here, and this end will be done anyway. Alright, so I got the jaw set to about 3 inches, both of them. I mean, well, all 4. And I use this reference line right out here at the top of the jaw here. I'm looking at that circle, and it looks like it lined it up on 3 inches. And I'm going to use this piece of chrome rod here. I showed you guys this a while back in another video. This is just a sample part. One that I copy whenever I make new ones, and you can see why there. You see, millwrights love to put pipe wrenches on hydraulic cylinders, and why, I don't know. Instead of buying the right wrenches to fit these flats to do their adjustments on the clevises, I see pipe wrench marks on these all the time. And this is not, anyway, that's kind of going into a different subject there. But anyway, we're just going to use this to kind of test up the fit and see how the chucks. And I'm actually using the chuck key off of the Monarch. This fits this chuck here also. And I do need to build one for this chuck though. That'll be a project for another time. Alright, so just getting her snugged up. It don't look like I'm running out very far at all. One thing nice about chrome plated rod is that, you know, it's ground true and round and it chucks nice. If you've got a good chuck that's got square jaws, you can get a good hold on a piece of chrome, and you know it'll be running nice and straight. So this is what we'll do is just chuck this. Look at that, man. I'm you know, 10 thousandths. But we ain't got far to go at all. But we have to snug them up a little bit. I'm just tightening my highs, but you know it's starting to get pretty snug there, but that's only 2. Okay, pretty well there. If you can see this indicator, let me see. Oop. Doink. I was trying to, what I was going to do is try to block the glare just for a second here. And hopefully you can see that needle moving a little bit. Now some of that is that it's still not perfectly running true, but I have found that with chrome plated rod, brand new chrome plated rod material, is that it is not perfectly round all the way around. And I'm assuming that's from the grinding process that it goes through. When I say not perfectly round, I mean you'll have all the way around it, you'll have little spots that may be, you know, 1/4 to 1/2 thousandths high or low. And when you run it in a steady rest, you'll just hear it roar sometimes. They're not all that way, but some of them are. Alright, so I got a little bit of run out right there on the outer end. Alright, we're down to 1/1000ths now. I think that's going to be good enough for what we're doing here. What I want to do is I want to see if there's any gap underneath these jaws. Let's go ahead and give her a spin up. See what happens. Put my safety glasses on. Okay. Chuck looks like it's running nice and true. Go ahead and put a little more speed on it. 700. It looks good. You don't hardly see any run out from them jaws there. Okay. All right, everything's looking good. So let me pull you in a little closer. And what I want to do, I've got this feeler gauge here, and this is a 2 thousandths feeler gauge. And I'm going to stick it in here and see if it goes through. All right, it's not going in there. Not going in that one. Not there, and not there either. So what that's telling me is that these jaws are still nice and square, and I'm getting a nice flat even contact throughout the length of the jaw here, from the front to the back. And that's the problem that I have with the old 4-jaw that come on this Victor. It's been used hard, and it's had a hard life, but you know what? It's made a lot of money, and it served us well. And it can be repaired. You can grind them, but I wanted to go ahead and upgrade and get a newer chuck, a nicer chuck for this lathe. So I lucked out, you know, and Tom found this local to him, and we got a great buy on it. So we snatched it up. So I'm gonna use this one here. So I'm happy with it. We've got nice contact all the way around. Now, while we're sitting here, I'll go ahead and I'll unchuck it, and I'm gonna see how aggressive those jaws bite this chrome. Hopefully it didn't put any marks in the chrome. I can see where I chucked it. Yeah, I can feel it a little bit right there. With the Cushman jaws like this, you have to be careful whenever you're chucking chrome plated rod or any kind of, you know, material that's sensitive to being messed up, because the way these jaws are made, it'll really bite into the material, which is great. That's what you want for some heavy duty work. The jaws, the chucks that I have at work that's on the Birmingham lathe and our old Acroturn is the original 4-jaws that come with the machine. And what's nice about them is that they're actually kind of smooth in here. They do have little grooves, but they don't have the grooves running that way. So I'm able to chuck this chrome in those other chucks and really get a good bite on it and not have to worry about biting in and leaving indentions in the chrome or any of the material there. But anyway, about this one here, man, I'm happy with it, and I think it's gonna serve me great. And I got to thank Tom again, buddy. I really appreciate you going out of the way to find this and box it up and send it to me, man. I really appreciate it. Okay, got this end finished up. Got the threads put on here. Got me a little O-ring machined in there, a little O-ring groove, and that will seal the piston in that counterbore there. There's the cushion and all the spacers. All right, we'll go ahead and it's going to pull up on that O-ring. Okay, there it is. That's the piston end. Now don't ask me why they made it like this. This is just how it come. These are evidently spacers to serve as like a stop tube to shorten the stroke of it. This may have been done later at another time or modified from the factory that way. So all we do is, you know, you seen the O-ring. We'll use some the red Loctite on the threads and then drill it and tap it for a set screw right there to lock it on. All right, so piston end's done. Now I got to flip it around and finish that in there. That'll be the clevis end. Okay guys, we got a couple more boxes in this week. Some viewer mail that showed up, so I got them sitting right here. Let's go into them and check them out. See what we got. All right, so this first box sent to me by Joe Uhale. I believe that's how you say that, and he's from Tampa, Florida. And we got a note, and we got a big old mason jar of Daddy Fatty's Red Dirt Rub, good for all critters. Yard birds, oinkers, mooers, possums, just rub it on and let it sit a spell, preferably overnight in your ice box. So that's going to be nice because I like to grill. I like to do, you know, get the smoker out, and I like cooking meat out here, you know, in the shop. So see what he has to say. Adam, I've enclosed a sample of the rub I make and use for smoking pork shoulders, ribs, brisket, chicken, etc. I have a propane smoker with a swing open door similar to the one I've seen in the background of one of your videos. I do. I have two out there. Hopefully you have survived the recent weather When you get ready to make a mini pallet like Tom's, let me know and I will send you all the fasteners you need to properly outfit it. Well, thanks, Joe. I appreciate the time and effort you put in your videos. The education I have received watching your videos has come in handy as I bring new equipment online at work. And let me know what you think of the rub. Joe in Tampa. All right, man. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I gotta get me some more meat. It smells like a nice rub. Got all kind of seasoning down in there. So I will try this stuff out, and you know that's actually a nice big jar of it, because you know the stuff that you go and buy at the store just comes in little plastic bottles like that, and it don't last very long. So Joe, I'm looking forward to it, and I hope it's great. I'm sure it is. So thank you for sending that to me. I really appreciate that. And I tell you what, whenever I use it, I'll let you know how it is. Okay. Thanks, buddy. Okay, got the clevis end of the rod done. This is a metric thread 48 by 2.0 pitch, and I went ahead and used that technique that Tom Lipton showed, where you can disengage the half nut, stop your machine, back it up, and engage the same number or letter. I put a little yellow dot on A, and that's the one that I used. And anyway, Tom, if you're watching, it worked good for me. You see I got a shoulder there that I have to go up to. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and install all the rings, the spacers, and the piston on here, since it's chucked up. The chuck will act like a vise. I'll go ahead and get this piston on there and tight, and that part will be done. All right, we got one more box here to check out that just showed up, and I love getting these boxes, and it came from the UK. It's always great having something come from overseas like that, man. So let's pull the item out here, and he wrote me a note. So it looks like we've got a what looks like a toggle clamp, you know, but it's made out of a vice grip that you can mount to your machine and set your height to do some quick clamping. Alright, so this is from Paul Compton, and he is from Bedfordshire, United Kingdom. He says, "Hello Adam, I saw on a recent video that you were using a G clamp. I'm assuming that you mean a C clamp. A G clamp on your drill press to hold a job down. That reminded me that I had a drill press hold down kicking around that won't fit the slots in my table, but it looks as if it'll fit yours. Enjoy, Paul Compton." Alright, Paul, I appreciate it, buddy. It looks good, and you know what? That's going to be another nice, valuable tool to use in the shop, and I do think this will work just fine back there on the little Powermatic drill press. So you got an eye bolt that you can use to tighten it up, and I don't know if that's how it came or if that's what Paul put on here, but you know, you just unscrew it. This will give you a nice little easy you know, nut to grab that you can tighten it up. Stick that down through your T-slot in your table, or the slot that's milled in the little drill press table, and then you get the little eye bolt screw on there, and you use that to draw it up. And you can position it around, and you use it to hold plates. Got a nice little pivot mount there on the end. It's got a little, you know, a little serration casted in it, looks like. So alright, that's going to be a nice little tool to use. And Paul, next time I have a chance, whenever we're on the drill press, I'm doing something, I'll pull this out and we'll give it a shot. Okay, buddy? So thank you very much. Alright, just getting the flats milled in there, working on the first side now. I'll Cut that side, I'll move it over to this side and cut it. Holding it in my big plain milling vise. Got my little jack stand there. And I'm using the crane also to just kind of support that weight out there. Alright, go make another little cut there, move it over. Okay, got the flats milled on there. It's at 62 millimeter, and use my little Scotch-Brite to deburr, get rid of the sharp edges. You got to do that or you'll cut your seals. And this thing's ready to go. Here is the piston end. And where's it at? You can see where I've got it. Got it set screwed in there with 277 Loctite on the piston. And that's about it. I'm getting ready to take her out of the mill and go put her in the rack.